Hello, guys. So, this is a review of The Stepford Wives by Ira Levin. And this is actually a side quest that I'm reading this book for. And it's a Trad Wives side quest. So, this side quest is about me reading 6 books on that all feature Trad Wives. And I had to read the OG, Stepford Wives. I've actually never read this book before, but I have seen the Nicole Kidman version, and I will do a comparison with both adaptations, both the one from the 70s and the one from the 2000s. And if I'm talking a bit weird, yeah, I'm being a lovely thread wife right now, and I'm not married. Anyway, so you probably know the story. This is about a family from New York moving to Stepford, where strange things start to happen, and the women are changing. They're much more demure and much sweeter than normal, because this is the 70s. And the husbands are very happy. The wives seem to be happy. Everyone seems to be happy except for Joanna and her friends. And they're determined to get to the bottom of what's happening in Stratford. Well, obviously, nothing bad will happen in Stratford. Like, what bad could happen there except, the total reversal of feminism? And it's actually very interesting to read this book in this day and time when Ira was a prophet. Sadly, he also wrote Rosemary's Baby, which is kind of scary. Anyway, so yes, it's not like anything bad is going to happen when we lose all of our rights and we return to the being properties and all of that. I guess because I'm unmarried, I'm just, you know. And it was a very interesting book, and not to spoil anything, but the ending was surprising based on the movie that I saw made from it, because it is very different. So if you haven't read this little book, because it is pretty short, then please do, because especially in this day and age, we should be reading the Stepford Wives and all the things that it warns us about, because this book warns us about the reversal of feminism, the reversal of rights for women, and everything that we have achieved in the past 50 years. And yeah, it's not like that's happening right now, right? Anyway, I gave this book 5 stars. Thanks for watching, and yeah, don't worry, I'm not going to talk like that in the future reviews because, oh my god, that was hard. Bye. Guys, so this is a review of both Stepford Wives adaptations. So I'm finally not saying Stratford. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, so the first movie was released in 1975, and it mostly stays true to the book. And the little bit that they did change was mostly at the end. Also, they condensed a couple of things, but that's fine. So the book is the ending of the book as to what actually happens to the women is a little bit ambiguous. So you can kind of think, yeah, I know what happens, but it's a bit ambiguous. But in the 75 movie, they make it very obvious. So in the 2004 movie, actually, that's a whole different ballgame. They changed a lot, which is kind of understandable because the book was so famous. Everyone knew basically what was going on. So it really took out of the mystery. They made it a little bit of a satire, like Joanna is now this over-the-top TV producer with these crazy shows. And also her husband is a lot more sympathetic. And they changed, obviously, the occupation of the main character. She's a TV executive now, but she loses her job, and that's why they moved to Stepford. And another thing that they changed is her two friends. One is kind of the similar, but everything has been updated to the 2000s, so they're more modern. And also one of the friends is switched to a gay man, which is great. And they also bring a lot more politics into it. When you know, you know. And also the ending was changed a lot because it became a happy ending instead of the very morose dystopian ending that we originally get. And I think this works, but I can't really talk in detail about it without spoiling. So I'm going to do another one, which is about just the 2004, and it contains spoilers. So this was the non-spoiler review. So the 2004 adaptation is very different, but also it makes sense in the developments. And also I really liked it. So watch both. Thanks for watching. Bye. Hi, so this is the spoiler review of the 2004 Stepford Wives adaptation. So the big major change, besides the characters, well, there were actually two. One was that in the original one, they don't actually have a women's group. That's part of this plot that they're trying to start this women's group. But in this one, they do have a women's group, but it's kind of like, it's almost like a satirical version of a women's group. I really like that. I thought it was really funny. So they have a lot more humor in this adaptation. And of course, the biggest change was at the end that on the one hand, the women are not killed and replaced with robots, but they get this chip put in their heads that made them act like that. So they're not actually dead. And at the end, Joanna pretends to be chipped, but she's actually not. It's a ploy with her husband to uncover everything. And while Joanna is pretending to be this perfect, beautiful wife, her husband actually goes and shuts the machine down, and all of the women regain their consciousness. And that's when the real twist in the plot comes, which I think was very good, was that it was actually not the husband of the town head who was doing this thing. It was actually the wife. He was a robot. She's not. She killed him because he wanted to leave her. So it portrays that sometimes, like especially now, you can see that the pushback against feminism is not necessarily coming from the men, but it's also coming from the women who have this idealized view of the past, which actually never existed. But they think that this is what they want to return to. They want to be taken care of. They want to be looked after. They want to be loved. But some women may have had this life, most didn't. So it's a delusion. And she actually is a totally deluded woman, and she dies at the end. And I really thought that this was very good ending, a very good change. And this is actually what we see now, that there are all these trad wife influencers who are pretending that, oh, my life is so perfect and I'm totally a trad wife. I'm just making millions on TikTok. Yeah, right. Anyway, so yeah, but that was the spoiler, and great change. Thanks for watching. Bye.